New Disabled South presents.
The amount of phone calls, the amount of conversations, the amounts of fighting all the time, your whole entire world is revolved around fighting, and you just get tired of it.
Florida, ostensibly known as the Sunshine State, cast a long, dark shadow for the 400,000 people forced to navigate dual eligibility, including the parents of disabled children who face a maze of restrictions and few real choices. Stephanie has spent 16 years learning how to fight. Her daughter was born with Down syndrome and 2 holes in her heart. At 6 months, she needed open heart surgery. And Stephanie, herself just 20 years old, had to figure out how to navigate Medicare, Medicaid, and everything in between. From denials and delays to abuse by paid caregivers and misinformation from case managers, the system has never made it easy. This is a story about what happens when you can't afford to lose your job, but you also can't afford to leave your child with strangers. When caregiving becomes your full-time life, but the state says you don't qualify to be paid for it. It's also a story about the quiet resilience of disabled families who keep surviving anyway, despite the indifference, the confusion, and the toll. I'm Stacey Abrams, and this is Dual, the true cost of care.
Dual, the true cost of care. Who knows a child better?
Stephanie didn't know anything was wrong during her pregnancy. Then on November 11th, 2008, her daughter was born and everything changed.
Lamina was born in 11/11/2008. I was 20. We didn't know anything about her diagnosis until birth, so it was the first time we held her, and she was born with Down syndrome, and she had 2 holes in her heart. And she had trouble feeding, so she got transferred to all children's.
At the hospital, social workers explained the initial steps for getting Lamina covered. Stephanie had been on Medicaid during pregnancy, so the concept wasn't entirely foreign, but the help stopped there.
Luckily, at that point, we had somebody come in and talk to us and tell us this is what we need to do, which I was kind of familiar because I had Medicaid and Medicare type stuff when I was pregnant with her for treatment. And they handled all of that, which was great. But that's kind of where any help with it stopped. So it was like, you have to figure out after that, once you leave the hospital, it's great. But then what do you do now? And I was 19 when I was pregnant with her, so I really didn't know much about anything or any kind of doctors and insurances or anything about any of it, how you go about referrals and appointments.
At 6 months, Lamina needed open heart surgery. That's when the rush to get insurance approvals began.
She had her first open heart surgery at 6 months, so they had to kind of step it up with all of the Medicaid and Medicare stuff, because if not, she wouldn't be here.
One supposed source of support, case managers. But even that facet of the system failed her.
Insurance provides case managers for your child. The issue with that is that the case managers, they don't call and really explain what it is that they do, what it is that they're here for.
Most contact came for annual reports and emergency preparedness calls only, which are hardly relationship-building interactions. Now, Lamina is 16, and Stephanie is still learning about potential programs with decade-long waiting lists.
She's 16 now. She's aging out in 2 years or less now. And now I'm learning about all of this, but I'm learning about it too late. We have to be on a waiting list out here for disabled people. The waiting list is 10 years, and they just told me about it now. So now what's gonna happen when she turns 18?
In Florida, parents of disabled children are prohibited from being the paid caregivers unless the child needs round-the-clock medication administered by a nurse. Otherwise, the state sends in outsourced nurses instead. However, too often, the care toggles between inadequate and dangerous.
The state of Florida, from what I've learned, from what they explained, They will not allow a parent to be the caregiver or even a relative of the patient. I've had nurses come in this area. We don't have any companies, so they're all outsourced. The nurses that we've had provided have abused my child. We've had a nurse bring her in a vehicle and take her somewhere she wasn't supposed to, and then somehow she got a hold of her taser and brought her taser to school when she was supposed to walk her to the school bus. The other person was a male who would sexually harass me to where no males in the house with her, didn't do that, abused my son.
By refusing parents the option, an entire labor force is now required. Yet the $10 hourly wage for these caregivers creates a workforce crisis that endangers the children they're meant to protect.
And then they're getting paid $10 an hour. They can't live off of that. Even if I became that, it's some kind of income, but $10 an hour isn't enough for people to care. I know it's sad to say that, but they don't care.
They act like these programs are great.
Navigating Florida's dual eligibility system often means repeated battles with unhelpful phone representatives and indifferent insurance networks that create endless delays.
The people that are on the phones too, the people who are supposed to help you, you have to enjoy your job to do these types of things. They're not happy with their jobs, that's their fault. You could tell some of these people are not trained properly or just not educated in it.
The complaints abound. Referrals go unprocessed. Appointments fall through. Doctors inside hospital networks require internal referrals, meaning every delay resets the entire process.
It's a waiting game, and it's a waiting game that's risky.
The constant stress has taken a severe toll on Stephanie's mental health and ability to work.
And that's part of the mental struggle right there, is the dead ends, the never-ending dead ends. And everything else is in everybody's hands. You have no control over your life and what you can and can't do.
Stephanie goes to therapy. She has her own dual coverage, Medicaid and Medicare, for her health needs. But her real full-time job has become caregiving and advocacy.
You're doing everything. It consumes your lives. It's not an easy thing. Instead of thriving, we're trying to survive off of this. And it's just not easy. And it's super stressful, and it's a job. People act like anyone who's on any type of welfare or any kind of assistance, that it's just a walk in the park and they're so lucky, and we're not. We're not. It is a job within itself that you don't get paid for.
Despite what officials claim about these programs, Stephanie's experience reveals the reality.
They act like these programs are just top tier, and they're not. They're not. It's bare minimum care, and people just assume because you hold it together that it's easy peasy. It's not.
Even when useful programs exist, the quality is often substandard. Florida fast-tracks disabled children into early education, bringing extra funding to schools, but Lamina's experience was traumatic.
She stopped wanting to go to school, and I would walk her into the classroom. She's about 3, and it's a whole class of ESE, disabled children, and she was frustrated, came out the door because she didn't want to go in. Her teacher, she picked her up by her shoulder and dislocated or popped her shoulder blade out of the socket and kind of plopped her down. And now this is a classroom that the school is getting extra money for.
The pattern extends across the system, where targeted institutions receive funding, but families have few real choices.
Where are we supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? We can't go anywhere else. We don't have an option. You don't have choices for what's going on with your children's health. It's in the hands of all of these people who half the time just don't care.
Every step requires fighting simply to get the basics. The emotional and logistical burden is overwhelming.
The amount of phone calls, the amount of conversations, the amounts of fighting all the time, it puts a dark cloud over your day. You just don't. Some days I don't want to get up and just deal with all of it.
This is a life sentence.
After 16 years of navigating Florida's dual eligibility system, Stephanie sees the broader implications of policies that intentionally treat families like adversaries rather than partners.
Where do the parents have time to fight the states? We're fighting all the time. We don't have time to go do this. Is a life sentence, and that's what people don't understand.
Some naively assume applying for benefits would only require signing up online. Stephanie knows the reality is far more complex.
It's a struggle for everything you have to do with this. It's like working for them, because in reality, you're doing all the work for them. You're doing everything. It consumes your lives. If you do a little bit better for yourself, they take it away.
She worries about families who don't have her knowledge or resources, that they will struggle to fill the gaps the system creates.
What happens to the parents when we don't have the money to provide for rent, when you can't even pay for food? You can't pay the rent, you can't pay, and there's not a lot of programs out here either that will help.
Her message to Florida officials is direct. Listen to the families actually living this reality.
People need to have compassion and understanding that just because you think it's one way because the internet or it's social media, all of these people put these thoughts in your head. Sit down and talk to somebody. Get in the groups. I hope anyone in government in Florida sees this and wants to sit down and talk to an actual parent who has to deal with this.
Talk to the people who really do this.
Stephanie's 16-year journey through Florida's dual eligibility system reveals the hidden costs of a program that promises comprehensive care but delivers contradictory rules and bureaucratic exhaustion. From Lamina's birth with Down syndrome and 2 heart defects, through heart surgery at 6 months, to learning about decade-long waiting lists only when aging out approaches, Stephanie has fought battles she never should have had to fight alone. In Florida, over 400,000 people navigate dual eligibility, and her experience exposes the gaps between policy and practice. Case managers who don't explain services, 10-year waiting list revealed at the last minute, a state that prohibits parents from being paid caregivers, but sends untrained nurses who abuse the children they're meant to protect. The programs officials call top tier deliver what Stephanie knows is bare minimum care. Schools get extra funding to educate disabled children, but might injure them instead. The system treats families like adversaries rather than partners, demanding constant vigilance from people already stretched beyond their limits. Stephanie doesn't want praise. She wants answers. She wants help. She wants a system that doesn't make love impossible to sustain. The truth is simple. Parents like Stephanie aren't in search of pity. They want real policy change. They need compassion built into the system, and they deserve a break from fighting for basics that should be guaranteed. Until then, they'll keep surviving, fighting, showing up. Because in a system that costs everything, love and advocacy are the only things left that can't be taken away. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the South, where the true cost of care is measured in co-pays and claims, and tragically, in energy, exhaustion, and the lives too many refuse to value.
To learn more about Dual, the true cost of care, tell your dual eligibility story, or to get involved, visit dualcostofcare.com.